Hello, everybody. Just making sure I was live and not talking to myself. Guys, I've been away, as most of you know, and what I discovered was small towns are dying. Services are being shut down. People are suffering, and it's all because there's no cash. And as I discovered, it's really hard to be frugal when there's no cash trade. Rural Australia is dying. It's being deliberately killed off, I think. And if you think that won't affect you, you need to think again. Hi, guys. Welcome to another Cheapskates Club show where we show you how to live life debt-free, cashed up, and laughing even in 2024. I have come back with lots of ideas rolling around in my head, and I filled up my planner pages. Getting away for a few weeks, well, you know, we were cut right off, absolutely right off. It has been wonderful, even for a control freak like me. And tonight's topic came about due to our experiences while we travelled through the Australian Outback, Western Queensland, Northwest and Central West New South Wales. For Aussie viewers, quite remote areas. Now, we love the country. We spend a lot of time travelling around Australia, and we love the people and time in remote areas of the Outback. We have a standing appointment, for want of a better term, with one remote community every year around this time. Sometimes it's a bit earlier, sometimes it's a bit later. But this year it's different. And I think I'm still reeling from the changes and how those changes are killing Outback communities now and how they will destroy all our communities. Anyway, let me see where we are in the comments. And we'll see. Yes, Estelle, live stream again. Bob Star's gone. Hopefully he'll come back on the replay. Hi, Beverly. Been away for 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Don't know how long. Hi, Kelly. Hello, Mary. I'll tell you about my holiday. It wasn't long enough, and sometimes it was probably too long. This year has been, this trip was interesting, really, really interesting on so many aspects. We were supposed to leave on the 18th of May. We didn't get away from here until the 8th of June. 8th of June, something like that. No, after the 8th of June, 12th of June. So we were almost a month late in getting away due to all sorts of circumstances. So that put us sort of behind in our plans anyway. Then the weather. What's with the weather, guys? I mean, go north for the winter, they say. It's warm. No, it's not. It's flipping freezing cold. And wet. Very, very wet. What do? We come home and what's it done? Rain. We've got a lake out the back, a lake out the front. We have a house with water views, and we are nowhere near water. So we didn't get to go to the places that we had planned to go. We did manage to catch up with friends that we had planned to travel with, but then they became ill. Then Wayne became ill. I didn't get sick. Go figure. I didn't get sick. I'm the one with the compromised immune system, and I'm the one that didn't get sick. So for 3 weeks, they were all sick. At one point, so sick that we just stopped traveling because they just couldn't. We did get to Birdsville and then out to the Big Red Bash. We did keep our appointment that we have with a small community every year, although it was very much shorter than it normally is. The weather stopped us from coming home the way we wanted to come home. Then Wayne's dad got sick and we got a phone call to say he was in hospital. So we had to sort of change our plans again and detour that way, and ended up in Sydney. I'm home now, but I'll be going back. It was still a good holiday. We still relaxed. We still managed to sleep in. No alarm clock, excuse me, I've got a croaky voice. No alarm to wake us up each morning. Came as a bit of a shock yesterday when the alarm went off at 6:30. We both sort of went, because we're not used to it. And it was good to get home. It's nice to get home, sleep in your own bed, fiddle around in your own house, catch up with what the kids have been doing. So that was good. But we did have a good holiday. And I will talk more about it, bits and pieces of it in tonight's show, if that's all right. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Yuta. Hi, Joy. Hi, Kathy. Hello, Simone. Hi, Delaney. Mandy. Miss Aussie Thunder. Oh, you've missed me. Yeah, I don't know. That's sweet. Hello, Melissa. Lynette. Goodness, Yvonne. Beverly, Jane. Finally got organised. I think you're always organised, Jane. You get a lot done. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Happy Tuesday. Yeah. Estelle, I am often sort of in your area now that you've moved. Well, not often, probably 3 or 4 times a year, because we go to visit friends and we usually meet sort of in the middle. Hello, Annabelle. So next time I will sing out. Hope you've got rain, Annabelle. I wish I could send you some of this because we are floating. We are floating, guys. It was so funny this morning because you look out our back door, which is just over here, and the pavers and everything were there, and the grass. You can still see the grass. So Lacey dog goes bounding out this morning, trot, 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 stepped onto the grass, and she just went, and she just froze because she could see the grass, but there was like 5 or 6 inches of water. The grass was just sort of in amongst the grass, and she's gone, and her front paws were in water, and she didn't know what to do. She hadn't seen it. It wasn't like a puddle that she could see. It was the whole backyard. So that was quite funny. And I'm very glad I didn't plant a winter garden because it would have just been destroyed with all this water. I'm glad the farmers are grateful. I'm really grateful too, but because our rain barrels are filled up. But oh my gosh, it's wet. And there's so many areas on flood alert. If that's you guys, if you're on flood alert, stay safe. Greg Evans has been on Big Red. Isn't it sensational? You can see forever from the top of Big Red. And you know, if you're looking out over the desert, because you look back, we just saw 7,500 other people. But if you look out over the desert, it is just breathtaking. And you know what? No flies. Again, no flies last year when we were there. No flies this year. Yes. First time we visited Birdsville, the flies were so bad. They were so, so bad. I vowed, declared I would never go back again. And I got conned into going back, obviously. But no flies. So I was very grateful about that. Hello, Jenny. Aradia. Sandra. Camperdown Abbey. Okay, yep, I know where that is. Hello, Patricia. Yeah, that's exactly right, Patricia. The water, I looked out the window yesterday morning because it rained all night. Looked out the window yesterday morning and it was like a lake. It was just like a lake, the front yard. And we don't have a very big front yard, thank goodness. And we do have a little bit of a drop off, but it hasn't even drained very much. Hi and bye, Fiona, and hello, Amanda. Okay. Yep, no flies on me, Joy. Not that you can see anyway. Not that I could see. There was like no flies. If anyone's ever been to Birdsville, you will know what two things, flies and cockatoos. The cockatoos never shut up. They go all day and all night out on the common and around the swamp. And the flies are so thick that even with our nets on, and I gave in and I had a net, one of those green swaggy nets, even with the nets on, they were still annoying, just hideous. So no flies this year. I wasn't looking forward to flies, but anyway, no flies. But I am glad to be back, because it was a really it was a good trip. It was a good trip, and it was a nice holiday, even with all sorts of things going skewampus. And we met some lovely people, made some new friends, I'm sure, which was really good. Had a few adventures, as we do, So don't get me wrong, it was a great holiday, and everyone we met was amazing. I so admire their spirit of, just get the job done and move on to the next one, because it was waiting to be done. There's no break. There's always something to do. So that attitude hasn't disappeared. It has become harder for some of the folk to do, I think, simply because, and here we go, guys. Here we go. Tinfoil hat time. There we go. Simply because our state and federal governments, banks, big banks, and post offices are making it difficult. Now, if you live in rural Australia, and by rural I mean you are 1,000, 1,500 kilometres from your nearest big town of perhaps 20,000 or more people, you will understand that. Or maybe it's, I should say, the fact that two essential services, banks and post offices, are closing is what is making life hard for those people out there. I say that because last year when we travelled, as we always do when we go remote, we took cash with us and we used it just about everywhere. It was the preferred method of payment for fuel, for groceries, for park fees, to pay for sites in caravan parks. Even the few touristy things we did last year, they happily accepted cash. Even the food vans at the Big Red Bash last year happily accepted cash. If you had cash, they loved you. This year, not so much. Just about everywhere we went, most people wanted card payment. They wanted you to tap and go or swipe or, do whatever, hold your wrist over the thing or whatever. And I found that really, just in the space of 12 months, it was shocking to me and quite disturbing. But we also noticed as we travelled that a lot of these little towns that last year were not bustling, but they were certainly busy, weren't. There were a lot more closed shops, a lot more abandoned homes. Some of the towns just looked downright sad. And we're in a town of just 115 people, this little town. 115 people. There's more people in my street than that. And I asked him, he was the man at the service station working diesel, and I said to him, he had a sign up, card only. we do not accept cash. And I asked him why, because last year they took cash. And he said, well, it's like this. When a trip to do a bank deposit is 824 kilometres, the round trip, and it takes a full day, that means he has to close his business for that day, cash is too hard to deal with. Wow. That's true. It is too hard to deal with. But the bank that was closer to them, that was only a couple of hours round trip, had closed. There was no bank. Now, this is peak tourist season for the Outback. Winter, peak tourist season. You know, like everyone says, go north, it's warm. There's a lot of money changing hands for the basics: fuel, food, caravan park fees, tourist attractions every day. And keeping that much cash on hand for a small business is high risk. But it's also the time of year when most of them make most of their money for the year. These little service stations, the little cafes, the little supermarkets, the little grocery stores, those sorts of things. Tourist season is when they make most of their money. But keeping the cash on hand, I don't think it's the only problem. This is just my opinion, okay? My opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion and voice it in Australia on the 16th of July 2024, but that could change. I think the lack of banks and banking services and the lack of post offices that do handle some banking is making this problem so much worse. And it is killing these small outback towns and then by default their wider communities. And it's doing it really quickly. So stick with me here, itchy head. When a town has a bank and a post office, it's seen as prosperous. The perception is it's got a bank, it's got a post office. It's a prosperous little town. Doesn't matter the size, it's prosperous. And it usually is. Because even if the bank's only open 2 days a week, it requires staff. Sometimes that staff comes from the wider community. Sometimes it'll be, people that are brought in to man it, and they might float between other banks if it's only open part-time. That brings new residents to the district. And then it needs secure transfers of money. That's something I'm pretty sure Armaguard would be more than happy to take on at the moment, seeing as how they're in struggling even after their bailout. That creates employment. It creates employment for the district and the wider community. Those trucks, the Armaguard trucks, for instance, require fuel. Filling up will help keep the service station open. New employees might need housing. So that could mean income via rentals, or it could mean work for the local builder, the chippy, the sparky, the plumber, trade for a hardware store. It will bring income to the council via permit fees and then rates. And that money will help boost the prosperity of the district. It will improve the services that council is able to provide. If the town grows, it's going to need a grocery store for at least some groceries. Even if residents do get groceries drop shipped, there'll be daily essentials that will be bought locally. If there's children, then they'll need childcare, preschool, schools will be needed. Even if it's just a little tiny 1 or 2 or 3 teacher school, it will help to bring prosperity to the town and the district by default. When a town has a bank, when it has a post office and people come in to do their banking and post office, they need more things. As the population grows, more services are going to be needed. Maybe a library, medical clinic, that'll attract doctors and nurses, perhaps a local ambulance base, that again, they bring in skills and bring in residents, and that brings money directly to those little towns and then indirectly to the district. The church might reopen, or it might open more than once a month. But none of this can happen if there's no bank. They need a bank to handle the cash for the businesses in the town, because you know what? Travelling 800 odd kilometres to do a bank deposit, having to close your business for the day, that just isn't worth it. Now, we're in another small town, just over 300 people, doesn't have a bank or post office. The nearest post office, guys, is 526 kilometre round trip. I think that's appalling. When fuel at the moment is around $2.70 a litre out there, and if you say the average fuel consumption is 12 litres per 100 kilometres for their four-wheel drives, that's about $175 just to post a letter. Now, I know they won't go that far just to post a letter. There will be other things they do. But that is ridiculous. You know, would you use a full tank of fuel just to go and do your grocery shopping? For most of us in cities, it is mind-boggling. For these people that live in rural Australia and Outback Australia, it is normal. It is a fact of life that they have been forced to accept. And if you're going to say let them use email, for their letters and stuff, that's fine. But if you haven't lived or travelled in remote or Outback Australia, I can assure you, phone service, either mobile or landline, and internet are random and sketchy at best, even with such inventions as Starlink. I have to say though, Outback Queensland seems to have the best cover for remote areas of any of the states, leaves Victoria for dead. Satellite options are expensive. If that's the only option people have for a basic service that we all take for granted and we all scream if it's costing us $100 a month, they're expensive. And you know what? They all rely on clear skies. So if you go back and have a look at the weather maps for the Outback for the last 6 months, about half the days were cloudy, and that makes satellite internet useless. And I know, because I was frustrated often on this trip because the cloud cover, we just couldn't use internet. Can you see what I'm saying? Does it make sense? Towns and communities are dying because banks and post offices, two basic services, have been withdrawn. Now, I realise that most banks are considered private businesses and that they have to answer to their shareholders, but surely it will be in everyone's best interest to keep at least part-time branches operating in remote and rural areas. And you know what? We've talked about this before. Bank closures aren't just happening in rural areas. The suburbs in our capital cities are losing banks too. Have you ever noticed that when a bank leaves a shopping strip or a shopping centre, that shopping strip or shopping centre changes? It doesn't seem to be as prosperous. It doesn't seem to be as busy. Take away the post office too, and your local shopping strip dies. Those two things bring a lot of foot traffic to a shopping centre or to the main street of a rural town or small town. And You know, we're all concerned about the cashless society and how it's going to affect us. It's already affecting us. I think it's time we let our banks know that closing branches and deliberately killing communities is not acceptable. And if you've got shares in a bank, that's fine. You have an even more powerful voice than I have. Write to them. Post on their socials if you can, because they're pretty sneaky and often don't allow comments on their socials, or comments are vetted and only the praising ones get through. Write to your local MPs and tell them it stinks. Remind them that elections are coming and you're not paying their wages via your taxes to have them deliberately destroy. That is what they're doing. When a town has a bank and a post office, like I said, it has foot traffic. People come in to do their banking. They come in to go to the post office. They shop. They'll shop at the local store. They will browse. They'll eat at the pub. They'll grab a coffee at the bakery. They'll top up fuel at the servo. If they need a tyre fixing, it will be done at the garage. They'll visit the parks and the little museums. And if they're tourists, if the town looks good and prosperous, they'll stay 2 nights in the caravan park rather than just one. And locals in that wider community will have somewhere to ground them. They'll have a community hall for CWA. They'll have a football club. They'll have a cricket team. There might be small markets. We visited a Christmas in July market in the teeny tiny town of Eulo. Population 94, folks. It was an amazing little market. It was in the little town hall. And it was just the talent in that little town, population 94, blows your mind. Oh, some of the things were just gorgeous. I could have spent hundreds of dollars in there, but I didn't. I splurged on a fruit cake because we were out of cake by this time. And it was delicious. I wish I'd got 2. It was really nice. And that was just local ladies selling their crafts in the town hall. And they were attracting plenty of travellers because they're sort of on a bit of a, not a main route, but a secondary route. And you know what? They even had a coffee and donut stall set up. So before you went in to do your shopping at their handicrafts, you would get a really good coffee and a beautifully freshly made donut for $5. We did. Wayne and I did. We splurged on coffee and a donut and the cake. Last of the big spenders, I know. But, you know, they were bringing traffic into the town, but it doesn't have a bank. Their nearest bank is a few hundred kilometres away too. And what was heartbreaking for us was it was just a little town that last year happily accepted cash. This year asked for card payment because it's too hard and too expensive to get to a bank. To everyone who is convinced that being able to tap a card or swipe a card or hold your phone over a gizmo or put your wrist up is convenient and simply the best way to conduct business, I say stop and look around you. What happens when the power goes out? Nothing, absolutely nothing. If you don't have cash to pay for your goods and services, you go without, unless you can trade for your needs. And that's not me being, exaggerating or anything. It's not too far-fetched. It's not even me being dramatic, because we know that's happened in the not too distant past. That has happened. If the internet goes down, what happens? Nothing. Online banking ceases. That's not being dramatic. It stops. No internet, you can't do online banking. It's a fact. If you've ever been caught in a checkout line when the power goes out or the internet drops out for whatever reason, trade ceases. You can't pay for your groceries. You can't have them. Nothing can be bought or sold. Bills can't be paid. cash is still necessary. Irrespective of what the gurus tell us, cash is still necessary. Cash and the ability to buy and sell using cash is still essential to life in Australia in 2024. Probably everywhere else in the world too, except perhaps Antarctica, and I'm pretty sure there's not too many, not a lot of trade happening down there. If the last 4.5 years have taught us anything, it's that we need to be financially independent. We need to be self-sufficient. We need to be self-reliant. And that means we need to have cash on hand. I'm not saying don't keep your money in the bank. I am not saying that at all. I'm saying be smart, have a small cash reserve available, and when you can, use cash. We've talked about this a lot. Go to the bank once, get out your cash, put it in your money purses or your envelopes or whatever system you use, and use it. Because if we don't use it, even though it's being forced on us, it is going to disappear. And Australia will be that cashless society that's been planned to happen before the end of the decade. And then, guys, we will all be in trouble because we won't be in control of our money or how we save it or how we spend it, because it won't be ours. We won't be able to get it in our hot little hands. We will have to rely on a chip in a card. That's what will control our money. Okay, now I'm going to go straight up because there's, oh my gosh, lots of comments. Okay. Hi, Hev. What on earth is a banking hub? It's like a sub-branch, perhaps. Is that what we call a sub-branch, a banking hub? I'm interested to know, because, I like to know this stuff. Kylie, yes, and it is appalling. And I would think that there's probably more. One of the towns we stayed in, we actually stayed a few days in this town. And it's a small town, but it's not a teeny tiny town. It's probably about, 300 or 400 people. It had a national bank up until about 15 months ago. Bank's still there, they just closed it. And the bank closed and lots of shops closed. People can't banks are necessary to bring prosperity to a town. Even if that bank is only open 1 or 2 days a week, it brings local people into a town, and that's what the town needs. Little towns, big towns, medium-sized towns, that's what they need to maintain their prosperity and to keep them growing. Bank and a post office. Well, we have better phone service on the top of Big Red, which is the last sand dune out of the Simpson Desert, than we had in some of the larger towns. Go figure. Telephone and internet in Australia is appalling. We're supposedly a first world country. It is a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. Sorry, guys, I keep getting this message flash up on me. Annabelle says her internet's bad. Banks are leaving. They want us to be completely digital. Yes, they do. Move into 15-minute cities. Oh, my goodness. 15-minute cities. Sorry, guys. While we're in Sydney, actually, no, it was we were driving home listening to the radio. And, you know, there's that 15-minute city that's planned for out of Sydney, Campbelltown, around there. And then there was another one that's supposedly being planned for sort of closer to the coast around Wollongong area. Well, apparently they've discovered that it's not going to work because there's no public transport that will join them to anywhere. There's not enough schools. There's no hospital. This guy from the University of New South Wales was going on and on and on with his big list of things about why, well, they can't actually start their 15-minute cities at the moment because none of these things exist that are needed. I wonder if they're going to put banks in. Sorry, that just cracked me up. I was laughed. Oh, cool. Humpty Doo's got banks. That's 50 kilometres is still a long way. 30, 40 minutes. So it's a 100-kilometre round trip, which is a lot. But then, we who live in the city, people do that for more than work. But yeah. Surcharge on his card, yes. I hope the little girls had fun at SeaWorld. They must be on school holidays, are they? Yes, Joy. When we lose the ability to handle cash and we have that little chip, here we go. Here I go again, tinfoil hat. We had that little chip in our card. I'm wondering how far-fetched it would be to have that little chip in the back of our hand or our wrist or whatever. Because we know there are already people in the world who are having their children microchipped. Like we have our animals, our pets microchipped, they're having their children microchipped so that if they're ever kidnapped or get lost or something, they can be found. So it's not too far-fetched, Joy. And it is, it's I think being Australian, we've always had a very free country. We weren't called, Australia wasn't called the lucky country for no reason. But it's lulled us into a false sense of security too. So, yeah, okay, got it. Hi, Vanessa. Glad you could join us. I've been reading up on Bendigo Bank. There's a bit of a kerfuffle with Bendigo Bank at the moment. I'm looking, okay, another thing that happened while we were away is we were in Birdsville, which is another little town, consists of a service station, a couple of caravan parks. What else was in Birdsville? Not much else, you know. A pub, and I had internet, and so as I do, I try to keep a track of things. And I had a notice in my email that a payment had been declined, and I went, declined? Not mine. Nothing out of my account's been declined. So I looked it up, got on my bank, and I went, oh, I was looking at my bank account and going, interesting. So I got on the phone and I rang my bank, which wasn't easy to do because you've got to push 4 and then push 5 and then push 2 and say your mother's maiden name backwards in Hebrew and all that sort of stuff. And I finally got on to someone and he said, oh no. I said, a payment's been declined on my bank. I can see there's money sitting there, but there have been no transactions on that account. Now, this is a working account, so there are always transactions on that account. And I said, no transactions on that account for over a week. Can you tell me what's going on? Just a moment. I'm so sorry. So I listened to the tinny music and came back. I'm still checking. Won't hang up. Waited and waited. So 40 minutes I was on the phone. And it came back and said, can't find anything wrong with the account. I said, it's fine. Everything's working as it should be. I don't know what the problem is. And okay, it must be at the other end. So, okay, thank you for your time. Hung up. By then it was like late afternoon. So I gave up and I waited till the next morning and I rang the company and said, I'm really sorry, but what went wrong? And well, we tried to take your payment and it was declined. It says the account's closed. I don't know, the account's not closed. You sure you've got the right number? We went through all the numbers, we did all of that. Okay, I'll try the bank again. Thank you for your time. That took about another 50 minutes. Hang up. Thankfully, Wayne was too sick to care what I was doing. So I rang the bank again. And of course, you push 4, then 5, and jump up and down 3 times and stand on your head for 10 minutes and do all that stuff. And spoke to a nice lady. And she goes, oh, yeah, their account's closed. I went, what? No, it's not. And she said, oh, yeah, we closed it. Excuse me? And that's just what, excuse me? And it must have been my tone of voice because this head popped into the tent and went, uh-oh, someone's in trouble. I said, what do you mean the account is closed? What do you mean you closed it? How can you just close my account with no notification on a whim? Why? And she goes, oh, I don't know. It just says here it's closed. It was closed on the 19th. Great. But that doesn't help me. Why? Oh, and this is she went, oh, I'll have to go and find out. Okay. So off she goes. She comes back and she goes, oh, yeah, well, apparently we're not going to deal with those accounts anymore, so we closed it. I said, but why wasn't I given any notification? I didn't get a letter in the mail. I didn't get an email. There wasn't when I log into the bank, there was no alert saying there's a notification. She said, oh, I don't know, just a moment. Off she went again. She comes back and she goes, oh, we didn't have your right address. I said, excuse me? Excuse me? I'm sorry, but what address do you have? And she rattled it off. No, that's the right address. Oh. Well, I don't know. She said, I can temporarily open it for you. And I could hear her rolling her eyes. You know how you can hear that eye roll? And I mean, please do, so that I can take my money out and change everything that has to go through that account to another account. I said, but I won't be able to do it for 3 weeks. Well, I can only reopen it for 7 days. And I said, well, I won't be able to do it for 3 weeks because I'm in the middle of the Australian Outback and there isn't a bank around here that I can go to open a new account. I said, and if it's cloudy, I can't even use the internet. I was getting a bit terse. And I said, so I now have to go through the process of moving all my bank accounts. She goes, well, you can go to the Commonwealth Bank or you can go to National. I went, I don't want to go to the Commonwealth Bank or the National. If I'd wanted to go to those banks, I would have gone there in the first place. thank you for your time. You've been very helpful. And I hung up and then spent, I don't know, it's taken me days to go through everything and change everything. And big banks can just close your accounts. They don't have to let you know. They'll just close it on you. Just close it. I don't know whether they were hoping I wouldn't notice that they'd closed it, because I couldn't even transfer the money that was in it to another account because it's closed. I thought, you can't do that. Apparently, they think they can. So I was most annoyed, and that was one thing that happened. Another adventure on our holidays. And thank goodness Wayne and the other guys were sick, and we weren't planning to do any traveling or anything that day, or I'd never have known about it. I use Estelle. I use the Aldi. My phone's on Aldi. Only two places we were away. Only two places I couldn't get phone coverage where Wayne had it, and his is on Telstra. One was Birdsville, and I can't remember the other place. I think it was actually a little overnight stop we made. There's a little just inside the New South Wales Queensland border on the New South Wales side, like literally just inside, about a kilometre inside the border. There's a little what's it called? The Bush Tucker Inn, and it's just a little service station with a bit of a shop, but they have $5 a night caravan parking, and we stopped there because it's a little place, trying to keep them open, but for $5 a night you get a hot shower. Hot shower. So we try to stop there on the way up and on the way back if we go that way. And I think it was there that I didn't. The only two places. Aldi's been great, and I only pay $17 a month for my phone. I know someone will say they can get theirs cheaper, but my $17 a month gives me a lot of data, and when I'm away and just using my phone, that's important. And the data banks with Aldi, you don't use it all, it rolls over to the next month, so that's really good too. The chip in the hand thing exists, yes. It was tested by a company replacing its access cards, I believe. Yes, I have heard that. And I'm trying to think of, you just reminded me, there's another, one of the big tech companies uses it for employees too. There you go. Yeah. Card was declined at the pharmacy for a fraudulent charge. Yeah. Oh, Delaney, I'm sorry that happened to you. It happened to me too. And it was really funny because it wasn't actually a fraudulent charge. It was just that I was actually away from home. I was in Mariba in Queensland, and for whatever reason, because I travel all over the place, so my card gets used all over Australia, but for whatever reason, the charge I made at the coffee plantation in Mariba was obviously fraudulent. And when I went to use it in Cairns a couple of days later, I was like, hello. So it took me a while to get that sorted out too. Glad they're on the ball, but it would be really nice if they'd actually check to see if it was yeah, I hate making phone calls too. Hello, Barbara. Okay. There are more and more banks, as I've been looking, trying to find an actual bank that has a physical branch near me, just because now I'm being stubborn. There are so many little smaller banks and credit unions, building societies and things, but they are mostly online. And when you dig deep and see who actually backs them, you think, yeah, nah, you want to stay away from them. Seriously, that is appalling. How do I feel about this? It's dictating whether it's opt in or opt out. And you didn't opt in, so, but where does your bank get off telling you how you spend your money? If you've earned it, it's yours. If you wanted to blow it all on pink fairy floss, that is entirely up to you. It has nothing to do with your bank. It's like when you go to make a withdrawal, a cash withdrawal, and they want to know why. Mind your own business. Absolutely mind your own business. It has not, how I spend my money has nothing to do with anyone but me. Maybe Wayne. Appalling. Buying champagne for your parents and it was declined. Oh, that's terrible, Delaney. I'm so sorry about that. So I think we need to, we've done our 30-day cash challenge and I just kept that going. It's still on the website. We want to do that. Keep it going. The more we use cash, the more people are going to accept it. And I know that yeah, sorry, Kyle, I'm just reading a comment. I know that we can't stop it. It is going to happen. But we can most definitely slow it down and most definitely cost the people that are making money off it a bit of money so they feel a little bit of pain. You know, if their profit's not quite as much, like I say, follow the money. If their profit's not quite as much, they're still going to want us to go digital. They're still going to want us to be, you know, a cashless society. But I say make it as hard as we can for them because I don't want to go cashless. I like cash. I like the control it gives me over my life, my spending, and I don't want it to be dictated to by anyone else. Okay, Joy. But again, you shouldn't have to tell them. It's really none of their business. What they should do is contact you, either send you an SMS. I don't mind. They've got my phone number. They can send me an SMS, or they can send you an email, or they can put a note on your account so when you log in, you see it. But we should not have to explain our lives to our bank. If you're not applying for a loan, you should not have to explain your life to your bank. Okay. So, one other thing. Came home and I checked my emails and there were a few grumbles, which is a bit disappointing. Not really, but, you know, about me not sharing recipes and meal plans. Guys, the recipes and the meal plans are in the Members Centre. You're a Cheapskates Club member. You can log in and access them anytime. And I do share some recipes. Every week there's a simple meal plan in the newsletter. But I'm not going to give away stuff that members pay for. That's not fair to the members. Members pay their yearly subscription And you know what? It's less than 60 cents a week, so that they can check out the recipe file, the meal plan archive, the tip store, the saving stories, the article archive, whatever else we've got in there, the tip sheets, the printables, whatever else is in the Members Centre. It's not going to be fair to them to give away what they pay for. And another point is their subscriptions are what keeps Cheapskates Club up and running, because there are costs involved. And they help to keep the weekly newsletter that goes out every Thursday free. So for everyone who wants more for nothing, I'm really sorry, but my answer is no. I will give my time and energy to Cheapskates Club members. But if you want more, can I suggest you join the Cheapskates Club? And I hope this answers the question, stops the grumbles. I will say more about it in the newsletter. But yeah, it's not fair to members. And the other thing, another grumbles, if you want to know when I go live on YouTube or when I upload a video, subscribe. Click that little subscribe button. So all you need to do is just click it, and it will subscribe you. Click the little bell and you will be automatically notified by YouTube every time I'm getting ready to go live, or there's a premiere, or I've uploaded a new video. 2 easy things. Whoops, now I'm going to lose my place. I've got notes listed here. Well, thank you for not complaining. And look, if it's a legitimate complaint, I have no problems. But if you go to our website, there's a little join up the top, and you can pay, bite me, hit me, slap me with your credit card. And that is simply because that's the most secure way for you to pay. If you use your credit card on my application form on our website, it is encrypted. The details you put in are encrypted. So I never see them. I don't know whether you use a MasterCard, a Visa, a David Jones Stalker. I don't know what you use. I don't have any of that information. I just get notified that you have paid and your payment has been approved and your membership has been activated. And I do that because it protects you, but it also protects me. So it's the safest way. It is the safest way. I know there are people that go, oh, I don't like doing it that way. Don't ever. And probably even still 2 or 3 times a month now, someone will, can I ring you up and give you my credit card over the phone? No. Absolutely not. And that's for my protection, because if I take a credit card over the phone, I am responsible for those details and to keep that information safe. Something goes wrong, whether it's my fault or not, I am responsible for it. So no, I will not do it. Don't put your credit card details on a piece of paper. How many times do people write them out on a form and hand them over? It's not secure, people. It is not safe. And if you do that, good luck. If something goes wrong, good luck trying to get your money back. Just saying, use the secure form on my website and you can be confident that it will be safe. People try to send it through the post. Again, it's not safe. It is. And do you know what? The worst part is I don't have a bank where I can deposit cash anymore. It's another reason I need to find another bank with a branch within at least half an hour of me that I can deposit cash into when I need to. Yep, you can use PayPal balance. You can do all sorts of things. Use your debit card. If you use a debit card, it's really good because you're not paying fees on it in terms of interest and stuff, because your debit card only takes out what you've got. In the 90s and noughties, customers in my family business had to do that. Let's put their details on the form. It was also, online shopping was still reasonably new, not nearly the volume it is now. And the phishing, the hacking, the tracking wasn't as sophisticated as it is now. So it was probably slightly safer. And that's another thing. No more check accounts, guys. Check accounts are finished, haven't they? Was it from the 1st of July? Check accounts no longer exist. I don't know about money orders, though. I know I tried to get a bank check a few weeks ago before we went away for something, and it was a bit of a pain, and it wasn't even for a lot of money. I know people post. I once got a membership renewal in a letter, and it was the money, and each note was individually wrapped in tin foil, and then the whole thing was wrapped in tin foil, and then it was wrapped in paper, and the parcel was like huge by the time I got it. It was just crazy. Yeah, check accounts. I thought they were changing them. I thought check accounts, I know checks no longer exist. I thought the check accounts were disappearing too. I'll check up on it. Anyway, okay, it's good to be back. If you enjoyed tonight's show, thumbs up, please, people. That helps YouTube know our content is wanted, even though this hasn't really been terribly frugal based tonight. But it also makes it easier for people to find our channel. And the easier it is to find us, the easier it is for us to spread the message that it is not only okay, but absolutely possible to live the cheapskate's way, which is debt-free, cashed up and laughing in 2024. So have a great week, everyone. I'll be back next Tuesday, live right here, 7:30 Melbourne time. Until then, have a good week. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe and happy cheapskating. See ya.